In this video, you learn how to play guitar and sing at the same time. Playing guitar and singing can be very challenging to do, especially if you go at it with a trial and error approach. However, with proven strategies and methods, it can be made a whole lot easier. Hi, this is Simon Candy from AcousticGuitarLessonsOnline.net, and in this lesson, I sit down with songwriting mastery coach Diana de Cabarrus to discuss and demonstrate proven strategies and methods that work to get you to be able to play guitar and sing at the same time. You learn effective exercises on how to gel the singing and guitar parts together, including strumming and picking patterns, as well as how to approach more complicated tunes. Diana will demonstrate each step along the way through various songs, so it's very clear what you need to do to master the skill of singing and playing guitar. Now, this is part 2 of a video, so Part 1 I'm going to link to in the top right corner of this video right now, and I suggest you start there because there's very important things, foundational things you need to do first before coming back to this video to complete the skill of singing and playing guitar at the same time. So do that, then I'll meet you back here. Let's get to it.
You're very, very clear on what is supposed to be happening when and how long things last for. You've got the chords going, and you can change chords fluently. Ideally, you can also play along with the recording pretty well with the chords. Now you want to get the sequencing of the vocal. So at this point, you are not too concerned whether everything is perfectly in tune. I've taught singing and had the experience of studying singing, and we all tend to start out with a perception of good singing being, is it in tune? Now, obviously, if somebody can't sing in tune at all, it's going to be hard to enjoy that, and it's the characteristic that sticks out very obviously. So it's the thing we tend to most pay attention to and most focus on. But for this first bit of the singing, not so concerned about the pitch. You just want the timing. Are you coming in at the right time? And so you want to make sure that you exactly know, if you count yourself in, that you exactly know which words are going to start when. So for example, if I go back to Mr. Blue Sky and I give myself 4 in, 1, 2, 3, 4. Sun is, it's coming in, the word sun is coming in on beat 1. Sun is shining in the sky, there ain't a cloud in sight. So you make sure that if the word sun in the recording is coming in on beat 1, you are coming in on beat 1 with sun. 1, 2, 3, sun. And that each vocal phrase is coming in time. And again, if you can't quite get it because it's syncopated, you want to slow it down. So you just get on the YouTube, you can loop it. There's lots of apps that do this. I use one called Transcribe. And when I'm really trying to get a vocal phrase, I just loop that bit and I listen to it round and round again. And I sing it round and round again. So that gets into my muscle memory as well. Muscle memory applies to singing just as much as it does to playing. You produce sound using your vocal cords, the muscle tissue. So you can do that to get very, very clear on the pitch. For tunes like, I don't know, if you imagine something like Happy Birthday, we all know, because we've sung it a bunch of times, that the first 2 notes, happy, they're coming at the end of the bar, and birthday, the birth is on beat 1. Happy birthday to you. And then we know that it's got to change on you. Happy birthday to you. So make sure that you practice those vocal phrases and they line up. So once you've got that, then you can start lining up the chord change and the vocal phrase. And for this, I would suggest don't worry too much about, at this point, we don't need all the strumming. We just want the chord to come in with the vocal in the right time where it changes. And so that would be, I'm the king of the swingers, the jungle VIP. So you're doing it in time and you're putting the chord in where it needs to be, but you're not putting in any other strumming. Or headed down south to the land of the pines, I'm thumbing my way to North Carolina, staring at the road, pray to God I see headlights. So you're just syncing up the place where it changes. And if you're a bit late or a bit early, you just keep going around till that's very secure. Once let's say you've got a metronome going, or I'm going to tap my foot here. Headed down south to the land of the pines, I'm thumbing my way to North Carolina. Then you can put some other rhythm in. Some people, as an intermediary stage, like to put in all downstrokes. So those people would like to go, headed down south to the land of the pines. I'm thumbing my way to North Carolina. I am not sure about this. I think it can, if that's the pattern that you're going to play, then yes. But if you are going to play a different pattern, I think it doesn't necessarily help you to go via downstrokes first. If you're going to play headed down south to the land of the pines, I think you want to go once you've really got the sequence, the chords and the vocal phrasing comfortable, I think you then want to go for your pattern that you've decided to play. So if you decided when you were writing the song out before, if you decided that your strumming pattern was going to be down, down, up, down, or if you decided it was going to be down, down, up, down, down, up, then go to that. Go to it slowly. So you might go from your one strum where you're going, headed down south from the land of the pines. I'm thumbing my way to North Carolina. And you might go to headed down south to the land of the pines. I'm thumbing my way to North Carolina. And just do it as slowly as you need to for it to still be in time. Out of all that I just said, the slowing down thing's really, really, really essential, because if you imagine if you imagine stretching time out, that gives your brain the chance to cue the change of chord, the onset of the phrase, the next action that you're going to be doing with your right hand to pick a string, the next, and the more you stretch time out, the more space there is for your brain to kind of register and program those things accurately. How do you decide which rhythm part you're going to play if the song, like Wagon Wheel, doesn't have an obvious rhythm part? That is quite a big topic, but to address that in a simple way, if you listen for what feels to you like the main rhythm of the song and you clap it out and you tap your foot, there is usually a way to recreate that on guitar. So there's that way, or there's a way where you could be like, well, a typical country part is like a ding dinga ding dinga ding dinga, and that's just going to be like so you can either think, well, this song's in this genre and I know that this type of rhythm accompaniment is pretty appropriate for that genre, or I'm going to listen and try and extract something, try and extract the main elements of the groove and then approximate them on guitar. I also didn't mention, which is really important for singing and playing, keeping your down and up really metronomic. Let's imagine I want to do this rhythm. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. When I'm doing that 1 and 2 and, I could hypothetically do 1 and 2 and. So it could be long, short, short with my picking. Or I could do 1 and 2 and. And for singing and playing, you really, really want to get your arm moving all the time. Your arm is your metronome. It means if you miss something, you're always going to be able to get back in time, and it helps enormously with getting things to that point where they're automatic and they're in your muscle memory and you don't have to think about them. You can think about other things like, I'm going to talk to the rest of the band, or I'm going to make eye contact with my audience, or I'm going to remember that I wanted to put a little bit of extra expressiveness in this chorus with a vocal. I've got a different harmony I'm going to sing. Ways that you can make sure that you really have got the right hand going and the left hand going is great to isolate them. And so a way of isolating the right hand is obviously to not bother the left hand, go headed down south from the land of the pines, thumbing my way to North Carolina. And you can do that with the original and then with a metronome.
Once you've got all of that going, right, and let's say you can sing and play, that skill is there and you're strumming your chords and you're doing all that sort of stuff, how much of a jump is it to do more complex things? So is it one of those things that once you've got going, as long as you can play the other things that are a little bit more involved already, we assume that you know the parts well, is it really that much harder to sing and play more complex things once you've got the coordination?
It's the same basic process. So like it is definitely easier on your brain and on synchronization to play, if you're playing a song, Mr. Blue Sky's got a lot of chords, but they're all downstrokes, and the lyrics often, the words are often lining up with a beat. Sun is shining in the sky. It's not super syncopated. So from that point of view, it's maybe easier to combine the words and the guitar playing for that song than for like a funk tune where there's a lot of syncopation. But
Yeah,
when there's a lot of syncopation, you can still do it. It's the same basic idea. So if I look at, for example, something like Get Lucky by Daft Punk, it's got this quite fast strumming pattern. The legend of the phoenix all starts from the beginning. What keeps the planet spinning? Force from the beginning. We come too far together. You can definitely add the singing to the funky Nile Rodgers guitar playing, and it's going to be the same basic process. You need to establish, first of all, you definitely need to give yourself the opportunity to get very familiar with the strumming, and again, slowing it down so you can be relaxed. Repeating it with sleeps in between is what helps your neural pathways absolutely internalize that. So regularity, if you played that for 5 minutes or 10 minutes, 3 weeks in a row, you'd get to the point where you could add the singing. So what you can see here is I've got these boxes that are for 1 eander, 2 eander, 3 eander, 4 eander, and I've got little squares where the event, and I'm describing as event, anything vocally or guitar that happens. Now this just has a guitar part in it, so we've got and it's the guitar part for Uptown Funk. But for something like this, there would also be a place where the vocal event starts. Let's imagine the vocal event started on 2 eander. You would need to slow it down, so you're going 1 eander, 2 e ba, 3 eander, 4 ba. If you had established that the vocal event started there and there, you would slow it down to the point where you're walking yourself through it, training your brain to sequence things accurately. And then it's the exact same thing. You're just going to gradually speed them up in time, but whatever areas you can't do when you've slowed it down, you take those out and separate it first, sort them out, and then put them back together. But you can also get into more elaborate kind of accompaniments. Like, let's think about the wagon wheel example. Headed down south to the land of the pines, I'm thumbing my way to North Carolina. You can get all these nice fingerstyle patterns and things like this. You can play, and at the same time as you can play single note lines, so effectively riffs, and sing. So there's a song of mine that goes, I'm blowing down these city roads, making notes and breaking codes, thinking of my bones, what's within their scaffolding. My compass madly spins, it's not tied to gravity. Broken glass cuts the earth, a serrated galaxy. Being heard can touch a nerve, truth's not just to do with words. We all need to be seen, feral holy machines. Works in progress spilling out, weary made but not contained. Ricochet between a state of grace and one of shame. And the nice thing about that, either in arrangements of songs, of pop songs, or in your own compositions, is that you can get a lot of variation from the guitar. You're not just playing one pattern the whole way through that might start feeling like it's getting a little bit repetitive. You can contrast the sound of the single notes and their rhythm. Those single notes against your vocal melody will create the effect of different types of chords transitioning. Whatever your kind of point of entry is, whether you play a lot of guitar and would like to add singing, whether you sing, play some guitar, would like to add more, whether you're writing your own songs and you're developing the vocal and guitar technique to be able to express yourselves, there's so much unexplored possibility there. And it does take a little bit of time, but not like all the time in the world.
Let's just summarize basically in a nutshell here, Deanna, just briefly through those steps again. So we want to be able to play and sing at the same time. Can you just sort of summarize each of those just very briefly?
So
just to
number
bring
one,
it all together.
We got to get absolutely crystal clear on what is happening. What is the geography of the song? How many beats are we on each chord for? We don't want to be listening to the song, kind of playing along and sometimes getting it and sometimes not, and not really being sure what the difference is between the getting it and the not getting it. So we need to nail that stuff down. Now, I appreciate it may sound like it's going to be, you may be like, well, how can I figure it out what's going on from listening to it? I do not have that skill set. Just start with things that are more manageable. I also didn't have any clue how to go about it when I started out. The more you do, the better you get. You can also buy chord charts. It's worth spending $1 or $2 on an accurate version of something that allows you to progress in your own ability to transcribe, and that means you're practicing it correctly, than putting tons of time into something where there's a mistake. So number one, make sure you know exactly what's happening in the music. Number two, get the separate parts working well. So get the chords working well and get that happening in time. Make sure the chord changes are fluent. Get to the point where you can do it with your eyes shut, and you'll be laughing. Work on the vocal phrasing. I love your idea of the humming. I thought it was very cool. Yep. Loop bits of the song, slow them down, do whatever you need to do to become sure about it. There's very few things that if you slow them down enough, repeat them enough, and count enough, you can't get. It's just that if you didn't know that that was the way to do it, how would you know? So once you've done that, you then are going to link up the chord and the word that the chord changes on. And once that's working, you're going to put the strumming in, but slowly, or the right-hand accompaniment if you've worked out a fingerstyle pattern or something. When things are still working slowly, you're just going to gradually speed them up. If there's one spot that keeps on going wrong, you just take that spot out and you look at what's happening with the chords, you look at what's happening with the words, you look at what's happening with the timing.
And there's a question here. Is it advisable to stick to the plan and avoid distractions like making melodic or harmonic modifications while singing and playing simultaneously?
I think you can modify whatever you want as long as you are consistent. So let's imagine that you wanted to reharmonize Wagon Wheel, and instead of 1, 5, 6, 4, let's say you're going to swap out a couple of chords there, and you're going to go headed down south to the land of the pines, thumbing my way to North Carolina. It's not going to slow you down as long as you, with those chords that you've changed or reharmonized, you are really consistent with them and you play them in a very consistent way, so that you could still write down that they were going to last for a bar and that the word was going to change, the word where the chord was going to change to the new chord that you've chosen was going to be this, then you'd be fine. I think it's quite cool doing your own reharmonizations. It's nice for people to hear that version, just as long as you substitute in whatever elements in the same precise way.
If you like this video, you'll love this ebook complete with video examples called 10 melodic fingerpicking patterns you can learn in 10 minutes or less. Do you struggle to make the fingerpicking patterns you learn on guitar sound like music? Perhaps it's because you believe in one or more of these fingerpicking pattern myths. 1. You need to know a lot of patterns to have your fingerpicking sound musical. 2. Only advanced fingerpicking patterns sound musical. Easy patterns are too basic to sound any good. Or 3. There is a magic pattern out there somewhere that once found will finally have your fingerpicking sound the way you want it to. None of these myths are true. This is because fingerpicking patterns alone are not musical. They're technical. It's what you do with the patterns that will determine how musical they sound. In this ebook, you learn how to make the most boring fingerpicking patterns sound amazing instantly. Plus, the simple trick to make advanced fingerpicking patterns easier to play, and the thumb and one finger trick that's so simple and will have your fingerpicking sounding pro in no time. Click the link in the description below this video and download your free ebook complete with video examples, 10 melodic fingerpicking patterns you can learn in 10 minutes or less. You'll have it in your inbox within minutes. Let me know in the comments section what acoustic guitar topics you'd like to see covered in future videos. I read all your comments. I do my best to reply to them all. I love to hear from you, so don't be shy. Drop me a line below. If you like this video, then hit that like button and don't forget to subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. My YouTube analytics tell me that 80% of people who watch my videos are not subscribed. So if you like them, subscribe and hit the notification bell button. That way YouTube will let you know when I release a new video, which is every single week. This is Simon Candy from AcousticGuitarLessonsOnline.net. Thank you so much for being here. I really do appreciate your time very, very much, and I look forward to seeing you in the next video.